Welcome, my alumni friends. My name is Jim Wright. I'm the Director of Alumni Services, and we're back for another Recovery Made Real Facebook Live broadcast. This has been really fun to do this every Friday, and I've been able to recruit Gateway alums, and occasionally we have staff and it makes it a lot more entertaining. And I hope that you can join us today with a question or a comment. Um, Today's topic is summer on the boat. Well, yes, this really came from me because I grew up a sailboater over in the Michigan side, and the I would never forget when my father actually purchased a sailboat. I remember my mother going, "What did you just buy?" And he said, "Hey, we now, when I have my time off in the summer, all five of us can go on this boat and cruise Lake Michigan." So it was a very, very important time. I think we all need time off. And when I am close to the water for my own recovery, it becomes a very natural, a very spiritual awakening for me. So that's what we like to do. Now, I invited a guest, and just want to share just a bit about his recovery bio, which was really, really honest. And I enjoyed the fact that he sounded like me, just a few years younger, about growing up in a family that simply drank and drugged all the time. And then he basically talked a lot about what he had to do to keep the alcohol and the drugs around, and obviously be able to use those types of substances. And then he kind of defaulted back into a family business. Gosh, I did the same thing. I was in a family business for 21 years and was probably the last place I wanted to go, but that's where I needed income. And then, towards the end, he shared a little bit about how his mother had the instinct and could see her son, or in my case, my mother with me, to be able to say, "Hey, you're dying. Maybe things are not going so well here." So when you get that type of information from from any parent, really, that gives you that insight that, hey, maybe you can get some help. And that's exactly what Jason did. So Jason's got a little less than a year sober, but man, he has been inspirational for me and all the alums and the people he works with. So welcome, Jason.
Thank you all very much. Very, very happy and grateful to be here. If you excuse my posture, I'm actually laying in a boat that I'm working at. It's the family business, so the business never stops. But I am very blessed. Today is actually my 48th birthday. And
Today, congratulations!
Today, this is God's been putting a lot of coincidences in my path. As we know, there's no coincidences. So it just so happened this worked out just to a T. Just let me know that I'm on the right path and to keep there. So boating and fishing, it's the family business, as Jim's alluded to. I've had a good 35-year of abusive drinking career and drugging career in my life. And it just the last 10 years weren't fun at all, and the last 5 were where my health started to get pretty bad. And as Jim alluded to, I went through 2 marriages. I have 2 small children, 6 and 9, and never wanted to kill myself, but I sure as heck wasn't going to stop myself either. And by the grace of God, He put my mother in front of me that one time when I needed it, and that's what got me off my rear end and got me into Gateway, and taught me the tools that I knew, but showed me that there is a better way to go, and I am so thankful for that. It's a simple program, but it's not easy. But by the grace of God, it gave me something to believe in and something to strive for. And I will admit it's a new experience for me being on a boat without without the a cooler full of beer and or whatever else we're drinking or doing that day. But it is a blessing now. It's now when I go on fishing tournaments, we're always up there at the crack of dawn, and it's just so peaceful and serene to sit down and actually appreciate that sunrise coming over the lake for a change. Before I was too hungover or trying to get more of that hair of the dog so that I can maintain and get through that day. But now it's just I'm just so blessed to be out there and just be on the water with my friends and actually able to enjoy a day out on the water and not be too drunk or too hungover and just get absolutely burned and blistered and everything else that goes with boating. But it is a wonderful thing. I'm privileged in being able to fall back on the family business because
Right.
I ruined my corporate career with my use and my alcohol, and coming back here gave me a new lease on life. Was able to restore some of my relationships with my family and friends, and the ones I hid from because, I couldn't let anybody know what was going on with me. I had to live that fake life of who I was as an addict and an alcoholic.
Yeah.
But we took took the pontoon out 2 weekends ago, and we had a boat full of people in sobriety with their kids, and I can honestly say that was probably one of the best boating trips I've ever been on. You wouldn't think it. We had of course we had too many coolers, and I think I got cannonballed a little too much. But the fact of just being there and not fighting the trailer, trying to get it back down because I can't see straight anymore, and not snapping because I'm angry because I'm drunk or anything else is a true blessing. It really makes me appreciate what God's given me now because without Him and putting me on this path of sobriety, I don't even think I'd be here with us right now. So I bubbling with gratitude today. So it's going to be a good day.
Well, thank you so much. Jackie Holmes says, Jason, can you touch on what you did while in treatment that helped you be successful in recovery?
Yeah, the biggest thing was I don't have to drink. Like I said, just sitting down and understanding the coping skills. I've been to college. I always skated by, so that was my MO. I never put forth any effort in my life, but I was always able to get away with it. Well, I God gave me that final butt kicking that I needed to understand that I can't get away with this anymore. And just hearing and seeing the success of other people around me, the counselors, for me, I was an insomniac. I couldn't sleep. My last 3 years or 4 years of using it was, I'd be lucky if I got 2 hours of sleep because I just could not quiet my mind. Learning how to meditate. I always laughed at that, but just the simplicity of it. I'm not one to do the existential meditation where I'm breathing through my fingers or my toes, but one of my counselors just told me, if it's too much for you, just close your eyes and stare at the back of your eyelids.
Yeah.
And sure enough, after a couple nights of practice, I had my first night of sleep without the use of sleeping aids, where I got 4 hours of sleep and could actually quiet my mind for a change. Breathing exercises were big. Again, it's stuff I all knew, but I just never concentrated on it. I never used the tools, and facing my fears. It's easy for me to have a bad day and then just bury it in a bottle and just not worry about it. But actually taking ownership of the things that I do. And for me, finding that higher power is key for my recovery. But while I was in Gateway, I was born and raised Catholic, and God just to me was there, but but the religion here was an organized crime family. I could never find myself to really give into it. But as I was in rehab, I used rehab and my kids to get me there. I used rehab to trust the process, to give me something to put my faith in.
Right.
And then as I moved forward in my recovery, I found God again. I'm going back to church. I speak to him on a daily basis, sometimes minute by minute, depends on how the day goes. But it was extremely helpful for me to understand the difference between religion and spirituality. And there was a gentleman there by the name of Mr. Todd, who up in sorry if I'm choking up a little bit, but he was just a simple conversation with him really kind of led me to understand, that I don't have to solve everything, that I don't have to try to control everything, because that's not possible for me to do. But made me understand that it's not my job to do that. And that was something that I've struggled with my whole life, being a control freak that I am. And it took me a lot of practice, and it still does, to be able to let go and let God. But that is probably my number one tool right now. And that's something I kind of had to develop on my own. But Gateway and got me to understand that, my limitations, my boundaries as a person, man, that I can't control this stuff, and I have to quit, and I just have to let it go. And when I started to do that, recovery got a lot easier for me. I struggled when I first got out of rehab. I dove right into AA, and that was essential for me to feel that I belonged to something. But once I developed worked through my steps and I developed my relationship with God, that's really what gets me through the day. That's what allows me to wake up in the morning and when I go to bed at night, I have a quiet mind. I have a peaceful mind. No matter how bad the day went, I know that it's not my fault, and it's not it's not in my control to control that. Life's going to come at me as it does.
Birthday, I was just thinking a little bit about my first sober birthday. And I was also a 12-step guy, and that's kind of where I went. And I had people that cared about me in this recovery groups and in the therapeutic process that I was going through, in addition to meeting people. And then when I started speaking and sharing my story in an outpatient setting, that was incredible. And I can remember, and I think this is probably what you're experiencing too, is that you're working in a family business, and I don't know how you get along with everybody, but my father and I were like, it was not good. And everybody, all the employees that were coming into work, punching in to go do their job, they listened to us, and I thought, I'm doing this sober. There's something wrong here, But I found that there was a lot of new a privilege of living again. So my question to you is, you had talked about that specifically at the end of your little write-up, which was wonderful, by the way, is that life and death. So what does life and death mean to you? Or if, you come across a situation where you thought about drinking again, do you want to live or do you want to die?
And those two words there are exactly how I look at it. I hear the saying all the time, I can always have another drink, but I don't know if I'll have another recovery. And
correct. Yeah.
And my life now is immensely, and it's a whole new life. Being able to be sober, and the conflicts with my father. Yeah. The good old shop, the family business was, yelling and screaming, and, and occasionally going out to the parking lot to settle a disagreement. And now it's admitting my faults and admitting my wrongs when I get aggravated and frustrated. I still might go home mad, but on those rare occasions, it's, my father lives close. It's a quick phone call and an apology, or the next morning. It's just it is a matter of life and death for me. So having that in my back pocket now, and understanding that it is that serious. It just it makes me realize that the arguments and the disagreements and the circumstances that pop up, it's just a circumstance. It's not a life and death thing. This is just life on life's terms, and just going back and you know what, Dad, if you want to do it this way, but yet I want to do it this way, you know what, I think I can grab eat a little humble pie and try it your way, but of course my way is going to work. But it's good to know that I'm willing now, because until I was willing to get help with my alcohol and my addiction, it's just taught me a new way to live. So it's understanding that people are people, and it's not my place to tell them that they're wrong or that they're right. That's their path. And now knowing my place in this world just makes it easier for me to accept other people as they are, and accept, guess what? I don't know everything, even though it's a hard pill for me to swallow at times. But it's a good thing for me now. It gives me that humble that I've never had before.
See, then and then the humility, I think I'm pointing the finger here.
Yep.
The humility is incredibly important. My wife reminds me daily that you need to totally surrender. And I don't know about you, but it's become our way of life after the pandemic. And I know COVID's still there, and there's other things related to it. But how are you doing with, walking in a restaurant without a mask, or being around other people that we don't know if they're, vaccinated or not? That's truly by their choice. How are you adjusting to I guess what we call the real world?
Yep. It's and it's interesting. We have signs out front that we ask for people to come in with their masks, and they don't. Some do. It's just for me, it's God's will. It's His path. I can't control what other people do. I'm fully vaccinated and happy to be so. But I also understand that's a choice. And there again, I don't give too much thought to it. I am somewhat protective of my children. We go out in public. I generally don't eat out with them. We want to go to the grocery store. They're happy to stay home and play on their iPads or play on the computer and have some fun there while I'll go run to the store. So, but it's that and just everybody else's choices in life. I just got to worry about me, and I still wear my mask when I go into facilities, just as, I'd rather do that than make somebody else uncomfortable. Back into that humility thing. I know that I'm not going to fight the system, because, that's not my place. So for me, it's just another day.
Well, it is one day at a time, and being able to identify all mind-altering substances. And if you're working the steps, but there are a lot of people that go back to church or do the smart groups or refuge or other, related, or some of the groups that specifically look at particular types of substances. So when I think about that specifically, when did you hear, just take it today or one day at a time? Did that mean anything to you initially when you left services? And I know you went into outpatient, but the fact was that, what happened? Was it a good or bad experience when you heard that for the first time? It
was a little bit of a struggle, because being the control freak and the planner that I am, it's very easy for my brain to try to manipulate the system. And if I do this, I'll do that. And then next, that'll give me something to worry about next week, and know that, okay, I got to do this and do that. I build that process tree up in my brain, and, and again, that's what keeps me up at night. But grasping that, that way of living, it's given me a peace. It was, good. It was in rehab and then in outpatient, it was, I needed to hear that repeatedly, because I'm a hard person to get to convert. I am very set in my ways. it's something that it's my way or no way. So for me to completely let go of that, it didn't come to me immediately. It took time, and it took a lot of practice. I'd like to say that my recovery was an event and not a process, but it's still something that I have to remind myself today of is that, just the little things. I'm planning a barbecue, or planning this, or just trying to get a bunch of alcoholics and drug addicts on a boat, over a weekend. It's everything pops up, and I get it that we can't plan, but in a way, it allows me to keep myself open, and it also allows me to put some pause on my brain and allow me to have some peace. Because there again, if I get back into trying to live 3, 4, 6 days, 10 days, a year out, it's just all that does is create chaos for me. So
in today's alumni meeting, the topic was the obstacles, and the obstacles that we self-generate from our brains, and I was like, what a topic that is so cool to talk about, because it happens to the people that don't have a substance use disorder or anything related to any trauma in their life. But the fact is that this is an ongoing thing for us, and I think you share that very well. I remember the first time I met you outside of our Caseyville site, and you looked at me and I said, you know what, you're ready for this, aren't you? And you said, yes, Jim, I am. What can I do? Here we are, 4 or 5 months later? Yeah, almost 4 months later. But I said, what can I do? And I said, okay, hold on, don't worry, I'm coming for you. So the plans of what you're doing for a career now and your family and what have you, what do you now that you have, it sounds like you own a pontoon boat, or is this somebody that wanted? Yep.
Well, truth be told, I have the best type of boat ownership there is. I get to borrow boats, so
yes.
Yeah, that comes in handy. So yeah, we have a pontoon boat. We used to sell ski boats, but pontooning is the way it is today.
Yep.
And
with a fishing rod.
Yep. And I also fish on a regular basis now. Which is took a little while getting used to again. It's been a good probably 6-7 years before since I've picked up a rod and fishing.
Wow.
Fishing tournaments now. Haven't won any money yet, but we're working on that. But it's just a blessing being able to go out and enjoy time on the water, enjoy the gifts that God gives me just by being around nature and my family, and that is a huge part of my recovery now, is transitioning into actually going out and having fun and not feeling so remorseful for all the damage and the chaos that I've created throughout my life, because I do truly feel that I was born a drug addict and an alcoholic. I come from as Jim was alluding to earlier, a long line of family alcoholism and drug abuse, and the generational drinking that I learned in rehab was really applicable for who I was. So now it's using that prone to addiction in good ways, and hopping on my bicycle, and into making sure that I make time for my kids and my friends and my family, and finding the good things to pour that zest and that energy in that I have into good things instead of bad things now.
Well, great. That's a good way to wrap up here, because I am grateful for you. I appreciate you and what you've learned through from Gateway, and what you're doing, on your own terms. I think that all of us need to stay connected, and that is when we break apart or break away, before we use something. It does happen, but that's okay, because everybody has to come to their own own deal. And happy birthday. You're approaching another decade, which is kind of cool. I don't even want to talk about what decade I'm approaching, but that's okay. That's part of the deal. So thank you, Jason. I'm just going to share a little bit about our Gateway Connect app, which is just doing great. It's such a great way for people to stay connected. All you need to do to download it is just G-Connect from Gateway. That'll take you right to Apple or Google Play stores. And that's just absolutely awesome. I think that this, I love it because it is the 21st century technology, but how we're able to connect, and a simple text or a post or something like that, and then what it has with the Explore tab, and then all the different things you can look up. And I love what Jason said earlier about the mindfulness and just trying to get quiet, and then using the exercises on a day-to-day basis. So maybe I should put that down on my to-do list. So anyway, we also have a reunion coming. You probably saw the tab there. It's October 9th in Chicago. We're just kind of wrapping up all the details of where we're going to do this. We're just really, it's a wonderful place. It's going to be right in the middle of the downtown Chicago. And so we're working on that, in addition to the fact that, hey, look, 4th of July is coming soon. And that I know it's raining everywhere in the state of Illinois. It's been wet. But again, thank you so much, Jason, for coming on with me. And we hope and pray that everybody has a great, healthy weekend. So we'll talk to you next week. Thanks.